Hello, everyone. My name's Hank Setala with Holistic Health and Healing, and I'm so excited to have on our little webcast here my good friend Angie Hewitt. And she is a registered medium from Lilydale, and she's actually teaching a class virtually here at the center on Saturday about past lives. And we thought, what a great opportunity to just get together, have a little casual conversation to give people a little bit of insight as to what past lives are, how they can be beneficial, and best of all, Angie has agreed to do a few online readings with us.
Yes.
So if you're interested in coming on video with us, I will be sending a link out a little bit later in the presentation here. So feel free to click the link, have your camera ready because we can actually bring you on. And if you're shy, that's okay too. We can also respond via comments.
Yeah.
But Angie, why don't you first give us a little bit of background because not everybody necessarily knows what a registered medium is, or maybe even what a medium is. It might be someone's first exposure. A little bit about your history and exactly what you do.
Okay. All right. So I'll give you the difference between like a medium and a psychic. So I'll start with that. So medium means that I can connect with somebody, a loved one that's crossed over or to the other side of life. I always call it the other side of life. And psychic means that I can get you information, talk to my guides, and get you information about your life path. So that's a lot of that what I do. Being registered in Lilydale, well, I'll tell you this first. I started doing this when I was about 17 years old. I started just kind of knowing things. I had just gut feelings about things, and they turned out to be correct. And every one of you, I'll say this, it's a natural gift. Every one of us has gut feelings, and that's you connecting to your intuition every single time. So know that and pay attention to it for sure.
Yeah. One thing I was going to mention, I remember one time we live streamed a class of yours that you were teaching at Lilydale, to Goddess Elite. We were kind of having a satellite virtual class, and you told this one story about how, with your intuition, about a near fire that you were able to prevent.
Oh my
And
God.
and that was like one of the biggest things. Like if for no other reason to develop your intuition, it doesn't necessarily have to be to speak to spirit guides, but just for your own peace of mind and peace and calm of what it can do for you. Could you just quickly give a little bit of a taste of that story, because it always was
Sure.
inspiring to me.
Yeah, that was a good story. And that was something for me that really taught me because I always told everybody to trust their intuition. And then one night I was in my house and I was home by myself. It was probably like 9 o'clock on a Sunday. And I started to smell a strange smell in my house. And it smelled like a sweet smell, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And I was, as always, on my iPad thinking something was maybe wrong with it and trying to hurry up and send the email. And trying to like walk around the house to see what the smell was, and I couldn't figure it out. And all of it, and my dog was acting strange too. I'll add that. But all of a sudden, I got this feeling that I needed to call 911 because my house was on fire. And right away, right away, I'm thinking that's ridiculous. I don't smell any burning. Like that doesn't make any sense for me to do that at all. And then I thought about this, and I thought, I tell everybody else to pay attention and trust their intuition and trust your feelings. So I thought, okay, I'll call 911. I guess I will. They're probably going to say, what's wrong with you when they get there? But by the time I called 911, by the time they told me to get my dogs and put them in the backyard, which I would have had to go through my kitchen, my whole kitchen was full of smoke. So we went out the front door, got out. Turned out that my the reason it didn't smell like smoke was it was an electrical fire in my dryer. So that was like one of those times that I was really happy I followed it. And just quick too, after everything was okay, everything we were safe. We had smoke damage in the house, and that's it. But the firemen came after and said to me, like a 10-minute swing, and the flames would have hit the wood beams in the ceiling, and my whole house would have gone up in flames.
Well,
So, yeah.
and you don't know this, but after that story, just recently, maybe a year ago, my son flipped this one switch in the kitchen. Was for an old fan that didn't work anymore, and we didn't know he flipped it. He was trying to turn on a light to make popcorn, and there was like this sweet smell, and I was trying to figure out what it was, and I actually remembered that story. And I
Wow.
was just like, oh my gosh, this is something. Like, I'm not sure what it is. So we called 911. They came out with like this special infrared heat thing, and they're like looking, and they found the wall, and like until then we never knew he flipped that switch.
Wow.
And what happened is the fan that was inside, it was like for an old vent, and these bees had made a nest inside. And when the fan got flipped on, it stopped and it started an electrical
Gosh.
overload. And so your story kind of inspired me.
Wow. How do you
So
like that? So my story, my dog, acting funny and all that, and it inspired you too to follow your intuition.
yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome.
just want to take a moment to acknowledge some of the people joining us. Mary said she's very excited to join us, and
I did.
we have Patricia Pope also saying hello. Patty here. Everybody is very excited to see you, Angie. So I'm not going to
I,
go through all of them, but there's
I,
a whole bunch of people joining us. We want to thank you for you being here. And if you just are joining us, we are going to be doing some live readings a little bit later. I will be sending out a link for those interested, or we'll just do it by comments, or we're just going to talk a little bit first about that, and we're going to get to the reading shortly. But I just want to acknowledge everybody that, or not everybody, because there's so many people tuning in and just giving some great feedback that
I,
they're enjoying everything. So great. Now, I know that Lilydale is a buzzword. Some people might know it from the HBO documentary that was out there. But what exactly is a registered medium? What makes a registered medium different than just another medium or a psychic?
it means that you have a lot of training. You have to go through a lot of testing because they want to make sure that you know what you're doing, and that you're gonna give people healing information and good information to help them. So it's probably I tell the story. It's about 2 years of training. If you've
Yeah,
ever
and
been.
that's up. It used to be 1 year, and then they changed it to 2 years, and they made it much more rigorous. And you practically have to live there to do it. So you must have been commuting quite a bit with all the requirements.
I did, and you're right. And the year that I decided to get registered, they changed it to 2 years. You know, but it's okay. I mean, you learn a lot, and it's a good thing. And to be honest with you, I like going through the testing. I learned, and I feel like it's a good thing because at least if you go to Lilydale, it's not just mediums. I feel like it's people you can trust because they've gone through the testing. And Hank's right. I pretty much about lived there for 2 years. And then at the end, you have to go through, you have to do readings for Lilydale mediums and board members, and they score you. And luckily I passed. So I was happy. That's a good
Very
thing.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I've had many of people that I know go to become a registered medium, and not everybody makes it. And
Now,
so it really is quite a rigorous vetting process that they have.
absolutely. You have to really dedicate yourself and really want to do it. But I did because I like doing mediumship and my intuition stuff because I feel like I can really help people. And that's important to me. And I
Very
know
cool.
you're the same, Hank.
I know. I just never had an interest in going through all that. I went through. In fact, Angie and I met at Fellowships of the Spirit. We were both
Yeah.
on the board of directors because I went through the 2 year school of healing and prophecy myself. Because I had all these tools. I was a natural intuitive from birth, but I had no context to use it. So as soon as I could drink, I became a professional drinker and tried to medicate my gift. And then when I got sober, I found fellowships. I'm like, oh, cool. Now I got some tools to
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Well,
actually use this.
but you know what though? It's true because you start to have intuitive feelings and you don't know what they are. I felt the same way. I didn't know what they were, and I was, I had a good friend, my friend Sandy, who was encouraging me to connect to my intuition, and at first it was fun, and then I was kind of worried, like, why can I do this? Right? You might have felt that same way, Hank.
Yeah, and for me, I was also, because I'm very empathic, and I was picking up on things, and I didn't recognize them as things that weren't really mine.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, well, this isn't my anger, this isn't my resentment, this isn't my anxiety, and just being able to separate out what was mine and what wasn't was a huge benefit. And
Oh,
that's a great thing you develop, no matter what intuition development you go for. A lot of times they're learning for you, teaching you how to recognize what's yours and what's not yours.
absolutely, absolutely, totally. And then the things that are yours are those feelings that you get. I mean, I think it helps you navigate your life 100% if you pay attention to it.
Yep. I did a quote for Elaine Thomas for Fellowships of the Spirit. I think they put it in the catalog at least for a couple of years. And I described like going through like the spiritual insight training as if you didn't have MapQuest before or Google Maps nowadays, like it was like you were going through life without Google Maps. And now all of a sudden you got Google Maps and you can find your way and navigate your way a lot easier.
Totally, because it's a tool. We're all born with it, and I think like as we get older, we disconnect from. We don't focus as much on our imagination because we go to school, right? And we're supposed to get an A in science and not focus as much on play and imagination. And your intuition's in the same side of your brain as your imagination. So when you shut your imagination down, sort of, you're shutting down your intuition, right?
Yep, and I've been very careful. Like, I know I have two children, a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old, and I'm always encouraging them to develop their intuition. So we would play games like, okay, what color car is going to come down the street next? Which elevator door is going to open first? And just try to make little intuitive games for them to keep that instead of having it be shut down.
Right. That's very cool. I didn't know you did that. That's a
Yep.
great idea. That's a great idea. Just make it kind of fun for them. Do they get it right a lot?
They do get it right a lot. And then I was also teaching them some of the shamanic things. I was teaching them a ceremony. We did all kinds of fun stuff. And then my oldest son said, Daddy, he's like, I would love to learn all about the shaman stuff when I'm a little bit older. Just let me be a kid now. I'm like, wow, how aware is this boy
Yeah,
that
he's
he even
pretty
knows, like, yeah,
aware.
this is for me, but I'm having fun now. This is like, my kid time.
Definitely, definitely. That's pretty cool. He's right. He's right. Like I mean, anybody. I just want to throw this in that anybody can do that. Like how Hank's talking about, what color car is going to come down the street. You can do that yourself. And another one that I do all the time is instead of looking at caller ID on my phone, when my phone rings, I just kind of ask inside, who is it? And a name will come up. And most of the time, I look at my phone and it's correct. So that's just a quick tip. Like if you want to stretch your intuitive muscles, because it's like, we're born with them. We set them aside. All we have to do is start playing with it a little and it'll be right back.
Right. And I'll post links in a little bit for those of you who are watching. Angie's virtually doing a class with us this Saturday for past life regression. And then the following Saturday, she's going to be doing one on intuitive development. So we got a little lineup of classes coming up with Angie. And I'll post the links for anybody who's interested in attending those. But tonight's theme is a little bit more centered around the past life readings. And I know that was sometimes one of the favorites in school because people gave themselves a little bit more freedom to open up to the spirit because they weren't as afraid about getting things wrong or whatnot. But
Yeah.
but with past lives, why should people care about what happened in a past life?
A couple reasons. One is I feel like curiosity because we have deja vu feelings. Have you ever gone to another country and felt like there's something familiar? I've been here before. Or we reincarnate a lot of times with the same people, so we can go through a past life experience and figure out what was, say, my brother, what was he in my past life, or my spouse, or what have you. So sometimes it's curiosity. You can also learn things because we carry all of our memories, past life and present life in our souls, and sometimes, like, we've made promises to ourselves, like, say, in a past life, I'm never gonna get hurt again in a relationship, and then all of a sudden in your present life you're finding you're having difficulty having a good relationship, and so you go back to a past life, find, say, the cause of where you made that promise to yourself, and you can let that go, release it, and realize it's something from then and not from now. So a lot of times that's called a back to the cause. I trained with Dick Sutphin, and he actually taught us that. He's one of the ones that started that, and it's helped me tremendously.
I love his work. I was actually in one of his life activation workshops. It was fantastic. And
Amazing.
just to share, do you know Kev O'Kane by chance? Did you have
No.
a chance to meet Kev? He was in my class at fellowships, and he was a lawyer. And like the day he started law, he said, well, if I do that job, I might kill myself. So he quit and went and is a full-time past life regression hypnotherapist. And he
Wow.
actually had me get regressed because my brother has a lot of animosity towards me in this life, or at least he did. And we went back to find out, well, why is that? And it came up to this past life where I was a medical doctor back in the days where you would go to somebody's house and deliver the baby. And I lost a mother, and the father raised a baby who survived to hate me. And
Wow.
so in this lifetime, the animosity, and really it was more of a reflection. There was a lot of things in this life that might have really been causing it, but it gave the way to kind of tell a story that put me in a space where I could have a healing experience from it. So it wasn't as relevant what story was told as it was now it puts something happening now into context that I was blind to before, that now
Yeah.
I can really release and let go of.
Yeah, you understood it, right? And then you could let go. No, it wasn't personal. It was carried from something else. I did it. I honestly I learned it because when I was talking about my fears with being a medium, and when I first started doing readings, I was terrified, and I would get things right, and people would say you're doing a great job, and I couldn't get rid of the terror. And so actually Elaine Thomas, who is founder of Fellowships of the Spirit, told me to go get a past life regression, and I did, and found that I had been, a witch in the Salem witch trials, and different kinds of things like that. And the fears I carried from that causing me to be that fearful of doing readings. So doing that regression helped me tremendously to let that go. So I definitely recommend them. That's why I learned it, because it helped me.
Yeah. And maybe the final question before we start taking some readers, I didn't know how much time you had tonight. Hopefully you have a little bit of time. But one of the things, like one of my beliefs is, and I find that the greatest truths of the universe are often paradoxes, right? Because there's one thing that's true in the onality and one thing that's true in the duality. So in essence, we are all one and we're all separate. But if we're all one, hasn't everybody been everything?
Yes, totally. 100%. I love that. I love that. Hank, you should share that quote that you sent to me last night, because we're all sort of going through where, right now in the world, we're having to look at things a different way and figure out a different way to do things. Do you remember the quote?
Yeah. Well, the quote was partially inspired by one of my favorite books. There's an author called Neil Donald Walsh. I know he's been up to Lilydale a couple of times, but he wrote a book, When Everything Changes, Change Everything. I added the part and see what else is possible. So because when we're in a situation like this, like Angie and I, we both had our own businesses, hers in Buffalo, mine here in Cleveland. We were both doing our own thing, and the entire world changed overnight. And so we're changing everything that we do overnight, literally. And now we're look what's possible with this, because now you're there, I'm here, we have 40 some people on the stream with us. Everybody's excited about getting these just a little bit of enlightenment from what we're doing today. And how many more people are we now reaching because of this big change? How much more consciousness is going to come to the world because of our willingness to be flexible with what the universe is delivering to us?
Absolutely. I love that quote. I wrote it down. I actually put it on Facebook. I gave you credit, because it hit me, and you're absolutely correct. And actually what's kind of exciting here too is we've talked for years about working together, right, Hank?
Right. And we've worked together more in 2 weeks virtually than we have in 2 years not virtually, right?
I know. We've learned a lot in 2 weeks, right? It's been great though. I love learning, and I love being able to do this. Like, thank goodness for social media, because we get to still connect, right? We can connect with people, and I love it that people are coming on here and connecting with us. So it's great.
Right.
Thank you, everybody.
Right. And before I start kind of opening the floodgates, if you will, do you have an idea, like how much time do we have for doing this, or how many people did you want me to bring on?
I'd say probably maybe start with 5 or 6, and then see where we are. We could probably do more, maybe more. I'd say half an hour.
Okay. So what we're going to do, I'm going to post a link.
I'm open to whatever.
Yep. And fortunately, I'm at the office, so I don't have to worry about kids bombarding me with questions or anything like that. So everybody, what I'm about to do is I'm about to post a link, and it's going to bring you to a broadcast, like a little area where you can make sure your audio is working and you can make sure your camera is working. And then you're going to be able to come in studio with us. I'll be able to add you to the screen, and you and Angie can have a little of an interaction. And then I'll drop you off and I'll bring up the next person. We can have up to 10 people in the wait room, they call it, at a time. I can't promise you that we'll get to everybody, but we can put you on deck and see how it goes, because this is the first time I'm ever using the software to do what we're doing right now.
We're learning this.
So
I'll do mini readings. There'll be smaller ones, so we can do quite a few, I think.
Okay. Great. Yeah. So I'm posting the comment now, and basically as people come in, I'm going to be doing it first come, first serve to bring you on, and please keep it kid friendly, if you're going to bring something up, because we don't know who's watching with their kids or anything like that. So that would be my only request, since this is kind of uncensored out on the media here. So click the stream.
Can I say something real quick? I
Sure.
just want to say that when I do readings, it's always like my belief that they're for highest and best in healing purposes. Okay. So that's the way that I work. And I always start out and say a prayer. I'm going to say the prayer now, and then I wanted to do that with each one of you separate. Okay. And I see things, I get feelings, I get words, I give all that to you. And then I'll ask if it makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, tell me no. Okay. I won't be offended. I feel like I'm an interpreter with spirit a lot of times, and I can just ask him for more. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Sorry, Hank.
No, no, you're fine. You can go ahead. We already have 5 people on deck that are already excited to come live with us. I thought people might be a little camera shy, but they're not. They're still lining up.
Very cool,
So
very cool.
yeah, it's
Love it.
very cool. I'm glad everybody's being so accommodating. And I do see one comment too that we'll address after you do the people on deck. We'll go to Amy, who just asked a question in chat. So I'm going to put it up now for you to think about. But I'm wondering if there's a past life influencing my present experience. I'm unable to be live on camera with you right now, however. So Amy, we'll get to your question in a moment. So I'm just acknowledging that you're in line, if you will, with that comment. Okay, because you don't have to come on camera. I would hate for someone not to get an experience because they're not wanting to come online.
You want me to start? You want me to start with her?
Sure, sure. Go ahead and do your prayer. We'll start with her, and then we will have Rachel on deck.
Picking stuff up immediately. So okay. Oh God, as we open the door to communication, in unity of the Holy Spirit, the great I am presence of the universe, we give thanks, for we know that the words spoken are filled with your love, truth, wisdom, and understanding of the highest. Okay, so Amy, what I'm picking up, and as soon as I read that, I saw this right away, is I'm feeling, I keep seeing like a heal, like you're a healer, you want to heal and you want to do things for people and make a difference. And I feel like you're doing that, but I almost feel like it's like you get to a certain point, and then I feel like you almost go backwards. Like it seems like you keep hitting walls, something along those lines. That's what I'm feeling with for the present. And when I'm looking at a past life, I want to go back I feel like I'm going back ways away. Like this feels like I'm in the 1800s or so. And I see you being some kind of a medicine woman, and it definitely feels like a woman to me. And I can see you like in a town, and it feels like there were people that didn't have a lot of money. Okay. And I feel like you kind of went around, and you look tired sometimes too. This took a lot out of you, but I feel like you very much wanted to heal, wanted to help, and you came up with different kinds of remedies and different ways to help people and heal them. I feel like you were doing that for a long time, and it almost feels like there was a town that came in to say this poorer town that took the town over. And I feel like when they took the town over, they stopped allowing you to do your work, and it was work that you were very much called for to do. Okay, and I feel like you still did it because you couldn't stop, and I feel like you feel like that now about your life. Like I can't stop, I have to get going. But I feel like you kept going, and I feel like it's like you did it as discreetly as you could, and then you got caught. And I feel like when you got caught, it was, where you were sent to prison for the rest of your life, and you weren't allowed to use your skills and practice your gifts. And they made things very, very, very difficult on you. And so it almost makes me feel like it's like kind of hitting that. It's like, how can I do this a different way and not be ridiculed and be accepted for what I do? And I almost feel, if that's making sense to you, if you could just sort of, okay, that was then, say this to yourself. Okay, when you start to feel afraid or start to feel like you're hitting a block, remember some of that and say, that was then, this is now, this is a different time, and what I do now in this time is much more accepted. And I feel like, take a deep breath in and exhale and let it go. And I feel like that will help you, like, make that connection. And I feel like that will help you to start going forward, because you're very much, I don't know what kind of work you do, but I feel like you're very much meant to do the work you're doing. And I'm hearing, I feel like your spirit guides around you saying, please go forward and keep on going, and just think about this and know that this lifetime is different. You can do your work in this life. Okay. I hope that makes sense. And I'll leave that with you with lots of light and love.
Great. Thank you. And Rachel, you're on deck. I just want to mention I've gotten several notifications. I know more people are trying to join the waiting room. We've reached capacity in the waiting room. So as we have one person go off, then you will be able to, someone else can get in the waiting room and we'll keep going for as long as we have time. But if
Yeah.
you're trying, that's the reason that you're not getting in. Uh, but anyway, Rachel's on deck. So I'm going to add Rachel to the stream. Rachel, thank you so much for joining us. And I will go ahead. I'll take myself out of the feed and I'll let you have your reading with Angie here.
All right.
Okay,
thanks. Can you hear
Rachel,
me?
it's, Hank, I see
Wrong,
you.
wrong button. Wrong button. I
Uh-oh.
want to
I
remove
think
myself from the. Here we
Hank must have wanted a reading, maybe. I don't know. So, okay, so Rachel, hi, it's nice to meet you.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can't, you know what, Hank, I can't hear Rachel.
Oh,
No, I heard her, so I mean, her microphone is working.
It is. Okay, I
Yep.
don't know why I can't hear. I wonder if I have to do something.
Nope, you don't have to do anything. She should be live on the broadcast. So,
Okay.
Rachel, can you try saying something again and just see if she can hear you here?
hi. Can you hear me now?
I can't.
Oh, might be my.
I don't hear. I can't hear her at all.
Well, I guess I have to
Can
be.
you hear me?
I guess I have to be the interpreter then.
I can't hear you. I wonder if I have to do something to audio, Hank. Should I try?
Yeah, go ahead and try because you
Makes
should
me
be
not.
you should be able to hear us still. You
Hey,
can't
can
hear
you
me
hear
either. I can hear you
I
fine.
can't hear anybody. I
Okay,
can't
okay.
hear either one.
I'm going to take you out, Angie, and add you back in and see if that changes anything. Ooh, wow, that's a cool little thing. Can you hear me now, Angela? Oh no, what's going on here? Okay, well, maybe I'm going to have to text her the messages here. So, Angie, if you can hear me, I'm going to message you. I guess you can't hear me though. 1 sec. Our first technology debut, and we had our first hiccup. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to take everybody off the stream, add us back in. In comments, could anybody, hey, Mike, I know you're listening. I see you're in the comments. Can you tell me can you hear me? Can you hear Rachel? Can you hear Angie? No. Oh, let me try this here. How's that? Can everybody hear me now?
I can hear
Angie?
you.
So Rachel can hear me, but Angie can't hear me. Tracy can hear everyone. So apparently it's some weird thing that's happened. Maybe this Angie is just bombarded with spirit. Okay, let me just message her to go ahead with your reading here. Oh, bear with me here. Okay, so I just messaged Angie to go ahead and do the reading for you here, and that I will message her with whatever your feedback is. Angie, did you get my message? Look at your phone. Look at your phone. Okay.
Can I type in here? Let's see.
I can hear her.
Yep.
I can't hear either one.
Hold on. We gotta. She can hear you. Sorry, guys. Bear with me. When there is a will, there is a way.
Okay. All right. Okay. Can she hear me? Because I can't hear you or her.
I can hear her.
Just go ahead and do the reading, or I can do that.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I'm going to say my prayer quick again. Oh God, as we open the door to communication in unity of the Holy Spirit, the great I am presence of the universe, we give thanks, for we know that the words spoken are filled with your love, truth, wisdom, and understanding of the highest. Amen. So, okay, so as I connect with you, Rachel, I'm feeling like there's been a lot of change in your life. I feel like obviously right now with everything that's going on, we're all going through change. But I feel
Mhm.
like over this last 6 months to a year, there's been a lot of change that's leading toward, I keep feeling like transformation, like you're trying to search and figure out like what's next and what are you going to do next in your life.
Mhm.
I feel
Yep.
like that makes sense. Okay, I feel like if I
Yep.
go back like that 6 months to a year, I see you letting go of things. All right, so I don't know if you're going through your house and getting rid of things. I feel that, but I also feel like even
Trying to.
people. Okay, yeah,
Mhm.
okay, me too. So, but I feel like even people, like it feels like you're trying to get yourself to a higher vibration. Okay, I see
Mhm.
that, and I see you. It's like I don't want people that are like dragging me down or maybe saying negative. You're trying to be more positive. Okay, so I feel like it feels to me like little by little by little, it's like I'm letting people go out of my life, and it feels kind of strange because I'm doing things a different way, and I've been used to doing them the same way and having these same people in my life or these same types of people for a long time. Okay. All right. Makes sense. Okay. You're doing the
Mhm.
right thing. I feel like you're so much doing the right thing. And what I feel is it's almost like, we live our lives like here I am, and then I make some changes. And it's almost like we kind of walk into a gully. It feels like that for a little while because it doesn't feel familiar. And it almost feels like, am I ever going to get to where I want to get to? Did I do the right thing? I felt like I was, and now I'm worried that I wasn't. Okay. And I
Mhm.
want to say that you did. And I feel like it's like you're, as you're going through this little bit of a gully place, it feels like you're connecting to yourself and connecting to your soul and connecting to what's right for you. Okay.
Oh, good.
And so you know that, right? Yeah. So I
Thank you.
so I feel
Mhm.
like trust that and know that. Okay. And I want to say keep getting June or July, and we're going to start to hit June or July of this year. And I feel like it's like, here I am walking through this gully, and am I ever going to get out of it and figure out what's right in my life? And I see when you get to the other side, it's like there's this ladder that comes down. You're going to see it so easy. And it's, of course, metaphoric. And you're going to just come out of the gully and you're going to be on the other side. And you're going to see that when you get there, it's like we open one door and then that opens another door and another door. But you'll get to the other side, open a door, and you'll find yourself with different opportunities, different experiences, and different people coming into your life. Okay.
Oh,
So
good.
I feel, and I feel like you sort of feel that too, but you're worried about it. And so,
Yeah.
yeah. But I feel like you'll absolutely get there. Everything is going to be okay. Keep trusting inside and trust your gut. How we were talking about those gut feelings. Trust your
Mhm.
gut feelings because they're what told you to let go of some of these things in the past. You knew it was right when you did it. It's just that worry, but you're going to get there. And I feel like the outcome is going to be great. And I feel like it's people, you're going to be around people more that are uplifting you. Okay.
Oh,
And being positive with
that's
you
what I
because
need.
you're a really positive person. I see that very much. Like you're definitely, I look at the glass like it's half full, not half empty person. And you need people with you that are that way. Okay. You're a
Okay.
helper. You always want to help everybody too. Okay. And I see opportunities, good opportunities coming for you when you get to the other side with that. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. I'll leave that with
All
you
right.
with lots of light and love.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel, for
Thank
being with
you.
us here. Okay, and next we have Karen S., who is on deck here. Hello, Karen.
Hey,
And
hey,
Hi.
Hank, I got to ask. Hey, oh my God. Hi, Karen. Okay.
Hi.
So, hey, Hank, I was going to ask you this do you think that people could, if they want to know something about a past life, maybe tell me something, give me a question about that, like I got from Amy, because that would help me to connect to that faster. Okay.
okay, yep. So everybody on deck, I know we have
Okay.
Karen on now.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. Yeah. I can't
No,
hear you, but just go. Yeah. Is that cool? Okay, good. Okay, good. All right. So Karen, can you hear me?
yep, Karen can
So
hear
weird
you,
that I
and
can't hear
Ravenna,
you,
you're
but
on deck,
it's
and
good though.
everybody else on
Okay.
deck,
All right.
think of a
So here we
question.
go. You ready? Okay. So, oh God, as we open the door to communication in unity of the Holy Spirit, the great I am presence of the universe, We give thanks, for we know that the words spoken are filled with your love, truth, wisdom, and understanding of the highest. So I want to say with you is I see the word success. Okay. I see the word success like all around your head, you know? Yeah, definitely feel that. And I feel like you're heading in that direction. But they're kind of showing me here that for you, sometimes it's almost been where you've almost gotten there and gotten to that place where I can feel myself like taking that step like off the mountain and just trusting that as I make these changes and do these things, I'm going to be led in the right direction, and what I need is going to be there. Okay. And I want to, it almost kind of feels to me, just like what I was saying to Amy, is like you're almost there. And then it seems like something happens, a circumstance, something comes in, something occurs that stops you from going the distance. Does that make sense? Okay. And so I want to relate that back, because I feel like I want to relate that back to a past life for you. Okay. And this might sound, sometimes they sound strange, but I feel like it's like I'm going back to a lifetime where you were like a king or a queen or something. Okay. Because you're a natural leader. Okay. So that would come from that past life. Okay. And I'm feeling like in that lifetime, you were very, very rich. And I feel like had riches all around you, and a tremendous amount of power. And I feel like sometimes people, when they have that kind of power and they have like that much money and all those kinds of things, it gets to be, they get very egocentric. Okay. And I feel like in that lifetime, you got a little bit egocentric. Okay. And yeah, that makes sense. Okay. And so it's kind of, you don't know for sure, but I feel like a lot of times with the past life, it's how it feels and if it feels right. So I feel like in that lifetime, okay, is they're showing me here that you almost, you got to where you didn't like you were not happy. I feel like a lot of people stayed away from you. I feel like your family members were, get away. We don't want to be around this. I feel like king, and I feel like we don't want to be around him. And I feel like as your life went by, you had lots of riches and lots of things and lots of power, but not a lot of people around you to love. It's like you were virtually alone. And I feel like in that lifetime, it's like when you crossed over to the other side of life, you were by yourself. And so I feel like at the end of that life, you almost made a promise to yourself and said, I don't ever want to be that way again. I don't care about having a lot of money. I don't care about having riches. I want people around me that love me and that I can love. And I want that, but I'm not going to forget it. I don't want the success. Okay. So that feels to me like that's almost something, because you have the same leadership and you have lots of people that love you in this lifetime too. You have that for sure. But I feel like it's like that's part of what prohibits you. Like I feel like that wall or that boulder that prohibits you from, say, going forward, and also because you can be successful and have people that love you. You can have it all. That's our natural born right. And so I want to say that I feel like you should meditate a little bit about that lifetime and sort of do, I release that. I don't need that then. That was that lifetime. And I've learned my lesson, because sometimes we come into the next life feeling like we want to learn something different. Okay. And it feels to me like that's kind of what you did. I want to do it a different way. But I feel like you've more than learned that, because you're somebody that's so not connected to your ego at all. Okay. That I feel like you can trust that now and start letting that go. And I feel like if you do, you're going to start to notice. And I feel like right now you're really on a track to success. And if you let that go, you're going to find that it's going to continue on. And it's almost like that fear you have of it will go away just from that realization. And I feel like meditating and saying, I don't need this anymore. I know this. I learned it. I'm not doing that in this lifetime already. I don't have to keep learning that lesson. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I can hear you.
Yeah. Oh, you can?
Yeah. Hank fixed it. Okay.
Oh, nice.
I didn't fix it. It's spirit.
Yeah. I leave that with you with lots of light and love.
Thank you, Ange.
Thank you, Karen, for being on with us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Let me practice,
Okay. And we have Navena next. And here we go.
Can
you hear me?
That's all right. I'm learning how to do readings without hearing. That's a good thing.
Okay.
I can do them anyway. Actually, I see Navina has her microphone was off. Can I hear you or no?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can. That's cool.
I can hear her. I'm not. Oh, yeah, she is muted now. I just unmuted her.
Oh, you muted her. Okay.
No, I
didn't
did.
know. Okay. Okay. So hi, Navina.
Hi.
Hi. Okay. Nice to meet you. Okay. So so I said my prayer like 2 or 3 times. So I'm actually once I start doing readings, I'm pretty in the zone. So I don't feel like I have to keep on, just say it again. So, I said it, I have my intention set. So I want to say with you, as I step in with you, is I'm very aware of a woman from the other side of life that is standing behind you. Okay. I feel like this is a woman who really loved you a lot. I feel like she was very nurturing. She was always there for you. I feel like a lot of times you could take chances in your life and do different things because you knew she was there. Okay. No matter what. Like I also see her as being somebody. I feel like she gave her opinions pretty freely. Okay. I feel like if she thought something, she would say it to you. And I can hear her kind of saying that you have a little bit of a stubborn side. Okay. And a side to you. Okay. That kind of likes doing things like your own way. And that's a good thing, and she's saying, and I had to, I would sometimes say things to her because she needed to hear them, and she's saying that at the time, you didn't always like it, but later on you'd look back because she had a heck of a lot of wisdom. She had a lot of wisdom. This feels to me like this feels like a grandmother or a grandmother that was like, I'm getting grandmother and mother. Does that make sense? Mother. Mother. Okay. All right. That's okay. That's what I felt. There's a grandmother with her though. I feel like her mother steps in with her, but I want to say that your mom is saying to me, she was I feel like she was I feel her smile, like I keep seeing her, she was cute, like I want to go like this. I feel like she had a smile just like you. Okay. And she shows me that you and you're different in personality, but a lot of similarities too. And she shows me that you do things a lot the same way. And she says that when you finally like use your voice and give your opinions, you give really, really good opinions. Okay. And I feel like she's saying that as the years have gone by, you use your voice a lot more and you give opinions a lot more, but she's encouraging you to keep going with that. Okay. That I want to say that I feel like there's a couple people in your life that probably need your opinions. And I can almost kind of see her saying there's nothing wrong with giving somebody a good kick in the butt. Not really, but like with verbally. Okay. So I feel like a verbal kick in the butt. And I want to say that she's showing me here that there's somebody in your life that needs that. Okay. And I feel like go ahead and give it to them. Okay. And you might annoy this person when you do it, but remember that when she did that with you, a lot of times you were annoyed too, and she's kind of laughed. She's going, yeah, I annoyed her sometimes, but you know what? I said the things she needed to hear. And even though you might not have heard it then, you heard it as you went along. And I feel like you look at it now, like you're absolutely so grateful for all her words of wisdom, and you have the same ones. So believe that and use them and use your voice. Okay. She loves you so much. I can see that too. She wants to give you a big virtual hug. I really feel that. She's with you a lot. She's with you. She's saying that it was such a wonderful relationship between the two of you, like this, like a friendship. She's saying we had a friendship. She's saying she was there for you, but you were there for her too. Okay. And that feels to me like at the end of her life, I want to say, I feel like you were there for her, but I feel like always. All right. So I feel like she's saying so much gratitude toward you. And she's saying, use your voice. Okay. Make sure you're saying the things, talk about the elephant that's in the room. She's saying somebody has to. She always did. So you do it too. And she says you do, but do it a little bit more. Okay. Because you have excellent insight, advice, and wisdom. Okay. All right. I'll leave that with you with lots of light and love.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me do this.
Thanks.
Thank you, Hank.
Can you hear me now? No?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh,
Yay.
you can. Yay.
Hey, I know. I was almost forgetting what your voice sounded
Yeah.
like. Yay.
So Andrea's on deck. I see I was worried that she went away from camera, so we're going to bring her on. And we still have people coming in to the room even. So when you need me to... Okay, we'll keep on going. This is fun. I'm so this is great to be able to bring people on and actually have them be with us. We do.
Yeah,
all right, so
to do this regularly, Hank.
Yeah, like why don't we do that? I'll try to figure out a more smooth way to send the link out all at once, so there's not like a tidal wave of people frustrated trying because they can't get
Well,
the link
you
to
know
work.
what? We can do it again too and not talk because we were having a good time chatting, weren't we? So next
Right.
time we won't talk as much, right?
Well, we could have just a message only event. We can
Yeah.
absolutely do that. But this was intended to be a little bit of past life knowledge as well. So,
Yes,
but here
I
we go.
would. Yeah, no, I agree. Hey, Hank, you know what? You should tell them about our gallery readings that we're doing pretty soon too.
Yeah, in 3 weeks. Is it 3 weeks? I forget the date. April 25th. I'll post a link in comments for people if you want to sign up for gallery readings. We're going to do it very similar to this, combined with a private Facebook group to just kind of monitor the comments. So it's not like totally live. It will be to a private setting. But anyway, I'll go ahead and add Andrea onto the live. Thank you so
Okay.
much for joining us, and I'll go ahead and remove myself again.
Hi,
Angie.
hi, Andrea. How are you? Can I hear you?
Yeah, I don't know. Can you hear
No,
me?
that's okay though. That's all right. Okay, that's okay. I like that I can see you though. This is great. So, okay. So as I step in here with you, I'm aware of a gentleman standing behind you. Okay, and this almost feels to me like a fatherly or grandfatherly vibration. Does that make sense? Father? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I felt. Okay. And I feel like he was a good guide. I can see him being he was a good guide to his family and he was a good guide, I feel like, to his children. Like I feel like he was somebody you always kind of knew he was there. And I can see like he stands tall and strong and I feel like you could always lean into him, like always, he just was there. He was like he was involved. Like some dads aren't involved. He was involved in your life. I feel like he didn't like to be left out. I can see that with him a lot of times. And he's saying sometimes like around the women would talk and talk, but I feel like he always got his words in too. He always got a word and he says a word in edgewise. He had a fantastic sense of humor. I can see that too. And I feel like a lot of times, like because he made a lot of good points about things. And I feel like sometimes if he had to say something that wasn't the most fun thing to say, he'd do it with humor. Okay. So I see him doing that. But I also feel this with him too. You always knew where you stood. Okay. Cause I feel like, that's why, like he's saying, that's why you've grown into being the woman you are. Okay. Where I feel like you're somebody that you have a lot of integrity. You tell the truth. You have a lot of values. You do things for people all the time. And he's saying that he's saying, I'll take some credit for that, and he's laughing, for sure. But I feel like you would give him some credit for that too. Okay. I want to say he's saying here that I don't know. I feel like you've gone through. It feels like some ups and downs. I want to say over this past year or so. Okay, and I feel like he's somebody that if he was here in the living, he'd have been with you all the time, and he would have helped you navigate through all this. Okay, he's saying that he has been with you, although he's not there physically. He's been there because I kind of feel like there are times that you don't know what to do. It's like I'm not sure what decision to make, and it feels like you'll get up in the morning, or all of a sudden it's like the decision is there, and I feel like that's because it's like he's whispering in your ear, or he's with you in your dreams. Okay, he shows me, and you feel him around, right? Yeah, I feel like you do too. Okay. And so he shows me that the ups and down part of things, okay, that's coming to an end. Okay. Things are going to start to smooth out for you, and you're going to be able to be connected more, I feel like, to your dreams and what you really, really want to do. And no, always, I keep saying I'm switching between a blue jay and a cardinal. I feel like if you notice blue jays and cardinals, he sends them to you. You know that? Okay. Yeah. He sends them to you all the time. So pay attention when you see them. And he's saying, and say hi to me. He says, not like you're going to call the bird dad or anything, but you could say hi, dad. And he's saying he'll hear you because he's saying you talk to him. I feel like you do anyway. And he's saying, keep on doing that. Or maybe you did and you don't as much now. But I feel like keep on doing that. Keep talking to him because he hears you. And you know what you can do? You can ask him a question if you want, because you would have and you wanted his wisdom. He's saying you really know pretty much what he would have said to most things. But he's saying, if you want to hear him, ask the question, close your eyes for a second and see what comes into your mind. Okay. Because that's how he communicates with you. So know he's there. Know he's saying you're not alone. You're never alone, even though sometimes you feel like you are. You aren't. Okay. And you've been brave with these ups and downs over this last year. You've made some decisions that were necessary to make. And you'll see that as we go into this next year, this next 6 months to a year, things are going to start coming together for you, almost that you're going to feel like it feels like magic, but it's not. it's because of what you've learned and the decisions that you made in the past. Okay. So know he's with you, though he loves you so much. Okay. All right.
Thank
I'll leave that with you with lots of light and love. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you for being with us. Lisa, you're on deck. I'll go ahead and add you. And I know as soon as we get one person free in the room, someone immediately adds. So after the next person goes in, I'll say that we'll officially, can you do 8 more, do you think? Or is that too many? So we'll let the people come on. Whoever's in the room, I'll call like who's last on deck, and then we'll still go through the comments. We can take a moment and see people who were making comments for things. We can try to hit as many of those as we can, because it's just we will probably could go all night if we didn't do this.
No, I know. This is fun. I'm glad this was like a thing that we just decided spur of the minute last night, right, Hank?
Yeah, this was completely spur of the moment. We're like, let's do this and like see what kind of inspiration we can provide people, and how much fun is it too, aside all that. It's so much fun.
No, I'm having really fun. I love doing this.
All right, so I'm going to add Lisa. There was one question too. It was sent to me as a private comment. Someone was just asking past life question. What am I supposed to learn like from past lives? And again, it's like things from the past life, you'll see parallels in this life. And sometimes when we have, especially, I'll give you one example. Sometimes when you're in a relationship and you've decided that it's perfect, right? When you decide something's perfect, you either have to make yourself wrong when it's not perfect, or you have to ignore all the things that are imperfect because you've decided that it's perfect. And sometimes past lives take us out of the disillusionment that we're in and give us a new clarity to see patterns that are reappearing that we weren't giving ourselves permission to otherwise, because we'll judge ourselves if it's,
Absolutely. Hank's 100% right. And if you feel you really and truly like it's like in our soul and everything, we carry every single decision with us, but we can change it too. We might make a promise to ourselves in this lifetime that I don't want this to happen, or I don't want that, or I'm not going to be doing this because I did it in a past life. But just because, like, say you came in deciding that I'm not going to do this, you can change it. We have free will.
Right.
We can change anything. We could, by our choices, we have free will for sure.
Yeah, I like telling people that it's kind of like life is like that movie Into the Woods. Everybody's fairy tales playing out in the same forest at the same time, interacting with each other. And you're your own writer, you're your own director, your extras and everything. So just because you made an agreement at one point in time, in the ever-present moment of now, it's like that to undo it. And past lives just gives us a new clarity of different ways we can release things that are creating limitations in our lives. Absolutely. That being said, we're adding Lisa to the stream. Thank you so much for being with us, and I'll go ahead and remove myself again.
Okay. Oh, hey. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Angie.
How you doing? Okay, so you know,
hey.
You know the prayer. Yeah. Okay, so I want to go back with you right away to a past life. Okay, and I feel like it's almost like you had a past life that I feel like some of the family members that are in your life now were with you in the past. Okay, and I want to talk about, it feels to me like your children. I feel like for sure we're in past life. Okay, I want to say that I feel like it feels like a daughter that you have now that I feel like is pretty stubborn and almost like sometimes you almost want to kind of say like which one of you is the mom in this life, because sometimes it's like you're the mom and she acts like she is. Does that make sense? Yeah. And I want to say that I feel like if I go back to that, to a past life with you, she was your mom. Okay. And I feel like that's why sometimes that happens. It's like automatically she falls into that role, and you're going, I'm the mother, but I feel like it's like you're connecting, like that's not a real old past life. So I feel like there's that. I want to say, and then there's sons too. Okay. Sons. Okay. And do you have 2 sons? Okay. And so I feel like they also were in those lifetimes with you, and it feels like it was your daughter and then you and then your 2 sons. I feel like were the kids. I don't know though. I want to say I feel like one of your sons was the father. Okay. I feel like was your father. So I feel like daughter and son were the parents, and that sounds weird, but I feel like in a past life we can be anything and male or female or whatever. Okay. I feel like
Right.
it was, I feel like it was a difficult life. All right. I feel like where I can see you sometimes, like we lived in a cabin in the woods. There were times that I feel that almost homeless for a time, and then getting to a better place. It just feels like it was a difficult life. I feel like there were times that you were hungry, and times it was just difficult. Okay. So I feel like in this lifetime, you all came back in different roles, and I could almost hear you kind of saying to your daughter, who is the mother in that lifetime, this time I'm going to be the mother, okay? Because I want to make some different decisions. But I want you're right, but I want us to all come into this lifetime, and we're all going to come in. All four of you decided we're going to be free to be who we are in this lifetime, because that other lifetime we didn't get to do that, because our lives were so much more about survival that we didn't always honor ourselves and who we were. And I feel like if I look at your children in this lifetime, I feel like all three of them and you, okay, is I can see all of you doing that in this lifetime. We're going to be who we are. And while sometimes that comes with difficulties, because being who you are isn't always following the mold. All right. And so I feel like sometimes in this life there's been challenges because of that, but I feel like there's a tremendous amount of learning that's taking place. And I feel like I could see you looking at all your kids and worrying, like, oh no, I'm worried about this one. They're too stubborn and doing it too much their own way, and they don't care about fitting into society. They're doing their own way. But I feel like part of that is because they've come into this life, and you yourself too, because I see you doing the same thing. You're doing things your own way, stepping out of the box in your own life right now, big time, and then trying to figure out, what do I do with this? I'm not doing things normally, but I feel like you're in the right direction, and they are too. They're younger, so I can see them. Yeah, they're going to make some mistakes and maybe metaphorically shoot themselves in the foot a couple of times. They won't do that really, but I feel like it's learning, and it's sticking to that promise of we're going to be who we are. And I feel like when they were younger, that's what you told them. You told them to be who they were and follow their dreams. And I feel like that's been strong with all of you. And again, I feel like it has to do with that past life. Does that make sense? Yeah, you're cutting out.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, Ken. Okay. All right. So I'll leave that with you. Think about that. But I want to say that I feel like some of the worries that you have
Okay.
with the kids, okay, and a couple of them, I feel like a couple in particular are going to be okay. Know this too, that there's a real strong bond between the four of you. And so even though, like in this lifetime, there might be times that it feels like that bond doesn't feel as strong, or there's distance, say, between some of them sometimes, I feel like because of their stubbornness. I want to say that connection is still there. That doesn't go away. And you'll see, like, I feel like I'm going ahead 5, 6, 7 years, and I'm seeing the Christmas tree at Christmas, and I see everybody around the Christmas tree, including a bunch of grandkids too. So I feel like if that makes sense, that will come as well. Okay. And I'll leave that with you.
Okay. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you.
Lisa, for being here with us. All right.
Yeah.
So let me go ahead and move her. And we got Kimberly on deck. So I'm going to go ahead and add her on. And still, this is just continuing to be so much fun. I love it. So welcome,
I know.
Kimberly. Thank you so much for being brave
Hi,
and being on
Angie.
camera with us.
How
Can
are
you hear
you?
me?
Yeah, I can hear you. This is
Oh, good.
exciting.
I can
We
hear you too.
people
I'm
now. Yeah,
excited.
that's a good thing too. Yeah. Okay. So every once in a while, I'm going to say my prayer again. Okay. So let me just go with that quick. Oh God, as we open the door to communication, in unity of the Holy Spirit, the great I am presence of the universe, we give thanks, for we know that the words spoken are filled with your love, truth, wisdom, and understanding of the highest. Amen. Okay. So you have kids?
I do.
Okay, because I feel like being a mom is so important to you. Okay, I can see that. Like, I want to say that I feel like we all change our lives when we have kids, of course, because they change our lives, right? But I feel like for you, it's like you very intentionally changed your life around to make sure. I feel like I'm going to spend time with my children, and I'm going to make sure that I really know my children and know who they are, and not group them together as a pack, but let them really be individuals. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. Okay.
It does.
So I feel like I don't know if they're getting a little bit older now or okay, so and it's feeling like more independent now and
Yeah, and
doing
I don't like it.
okay, like it's like they're like we're doing our own thing, you know. But
Right.
know this that you've taught them that, you put a very strong foundation under them, and I feel like with that strong foundation you put under them was so they could go out into the world, okay, and follow their dreams and be who they need to be. All right. But I'm feeling like that's a good thing. But oh my gosh, you want them to be like right with you all the time. Okay. So I'm hearing this. Okay, that right now, they like I see independence. I feel like they're all stubborn. I don't know if it's two or three, but I feel
Two.
like two. Okay, and I feel like definitely stubborn. Okay, but I feel this. You will, even though as they get older, they might go out into the world and do their own thing and start. I'm going to do this or my career and get married and all that kind of stuff. They'll always come back. Because I feel like they're super connected to you and they'll need you in different ways. Okay, if that makes sense. Okay. Okay. And I want to say this, that I feel that during this time, I see you. I don't know if you're looking for new ventures or you're trying new ventures, but I could see you like doing some different things because you, like when you became a mom, it's like I set a part of myself aside. Right. Okay.
Right.
And that was fine. And I feel a little bit like right now what you're doing is I'm trying to find myself again. And I'm trying to figure out what exactly is right for me. And I feel like you're about halfway there because I see you doing some things and trying things. And I feel like keep on going. Okay. Sometimes like we don't want to try something new because we don't know how it's going to be, or we're afraid you're somebody that when you make a commitment to something, you really make the commitment. Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
And that was my one question, like about like past lives with like relationships. Like I feel like I keep making the same mistakes with relationships and I'm not in one currently. And like, what's going on?
You will be. Okay. I feel like you will be. I got that, but let me look at the past life for you. I'm glad you asked me a past life question. Okay. So that's what I'm supposed to be doing, I think. So
I listened.
Okay. All right. So I feel you okay. I almost feel that in a past life, the first thing that's coming to me here is I feel like I'm going back to like a time when men were like say the early 1900s, where men were the ones that were in charge more. Okay. And I could see you being like, say, a woman, like it almost feels like the suffrage movement when we could vote and women were starting to have a voice. Okay. And I want to say that I feel like you have a voice now. Okay. And I feel like, especially like in that past life you did. And I feel like it really irritated you because you were trying to make movements and make things better for women and use your voice. And I want to say that you absolutely were correct with the things you were saying back then. And I feel like men were in charge. And so I feel like a lot of times it was, they were like shutting you up, not allowing you to use your voice and wanted to keep stifling you, if you will, is kind of the word I get. And I feel like it annoyed you because you knew you were there to make change and do something amazing. And you did do some things, but I feel like, again, it's like being stifled over and over again. And I almost feel like you got to a place of like toward the end of that life of, I've had enough of men. I am not putting up with this again. Nobody's going to be telling me what to do. I don't think so, And so I feel like that's a lot. That's kind of the promise you made. And so it feels like, when you make a promise like that, and that almost becomes like in your new lifetime, like one of your belief systems, I'm not going to put up with any man telling me what to do and those kinds of things. And then it almost feels like, because it's almost like you draw men in then that somehow maybe are trying to tell you what to do, or they're not being true partners, is what I feel like you've encountered. Okay. And so I want to say that I feel like, think about that lifetime, let yourself use your imagination and feel it a little bit. And I feel like if you do, maybe, I mean, I know we don't always know that for sure if a past life is correct. I know it's right, but yeah, I know for you, you don't, right?
Okay.
So, but I feel like let yourself resonate with that a little bit. And I feel like let that go and think about that. Okay. Cause I feel like think about the things you say to yourself today and say it different. I can start saying I can have a true partner. You know, I can have somebody that's going to really be there by my side. Change what you're saying about that. And I
All
feel
right.
like you'll draw something else in. You're going to have that. I feel like within 2 years, I see you in a good relationship. Okay.
Okay.
And
Thank
throw
you
that
so
into it. So,
much.
all right. I'll leave
Thank
that with
you.
you.
And
Okay.
one thing
Thank
for you,
you.
Kimberly, too, I feel
Yes.
that you're very empathic. Yes. Incredibly
Yes.
empathic. And so you
Yes.
may want to just look at the relationship that the empath has with narcissists. It's like a moth to the flame,
Oh,
right?
isn't that
It
interesting?
is. So
Yeah,
just one thing,
that resonates with me
yes.
big
So
time.
one thing to just also offer for you to do is to learn the distinction between sensing things and feeling things. Sensing is the awareness of an energy, but once you've named it, you've claimed it. And so when you're an empath and you start like picking up and then the wounded healer and you wants to fix everybody, you have the propensity to, get the moth to the flame
Yep.
type of effect. So just sensing and feeling would be a really good skill set to develop. I hope you
Sensing
don't
and
mind,
feeling.
Nancy.
You got
It
it.
was,
Oh my God. No,
so
no, I love it. I love it. We got to do a lot of things together, Hank,
yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
So yeah. Okay.
So
Thank
thank you
you.
for being
Thank
on
you
with us,
so much,
Kimberly.
both of you. Thank you. Have
Thank
a
you.
great
Bye
night.
bye.
You too.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, so just so you know where we're at, Kimberly is going to be the last one on video, and then we'll go through the comments. So I just want to acknowledge you, Kimberly. I know you even got booted off, and then you got back on. So thank you for going with us. We have Jalen.
Let's
Jalen,
just say we promise we're going to do this again very soon, and we'll make it just an all message service, right, Hank?
yeah, we can definitely do that. We can plan it to be a regular thing if
Yeah.
if this is something people like, and we're having so much fun doing it. Why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
And I'll go ahead and add Jalen to the stream here. There we go.
Hi, Jalen. How are you? I love your name. I love that. Yeah, that's a good name. So, okay, do you have a question? I'm going to ask this about past lives. Oh, I can't hear you. Oh, maybe. Oh, you're muted. Okay.
You hear me now?
Okay, let me. It doesn't matter if I can hear you or not. I'll just roll with it and try and connect with you intuitively. So so I want to say that if I'm the first thing is as I'm connecting with you is I keep feeling like career. Okay, and I'm seeing like maybe questions about career and questions about like the direction to go in career wise is what I'm feeling. Okay, and I feel like it's like you're on the right path. I feel like you are, but I see you. It's like I don't know if you're thinking about doing more studying. I keep on seeing that, like maybe learning some new skills. And I feel like if you're on the fence about that, I'm feeling like do it. Okay, I feel like do it because even though you hate to commit yourself to however many years of studying or whatever you want to do, it feels to me like it'll be worth it because it's going to buy you freedom and it's going to allow you to do what you're meant to do. I almost feel like you needed to step away from it for a little while because I feel like you've done a lot of personal growing, okay, inside of you. I feel like you've figured out a lot of like, this is what I want, here's what's right for me, things like that. And you needed to step away from school to do that because otherwise you would have been going to school, and not that school is ever a waste, but you weren't going for what you really, really wanted. I feel like you didn't know. Okay, that makes sense?
Yes.
Okay. And so I feel like stepping away was good, but I also feel like going back or finishing a degree or going for a couple more years, something like I feel like fine tuning it. And I feel like if you do that and you fine tune it, you're going to be more where you want to be because I feel like you have a lot of gifts and a lot of things to give to people. All right. I feel like you've gone through ups and downs in your life. I see you helping people, like almost, I want to say counseling or something along those lines. Is I could see you doing something like that because I feel like you've been through so much that you'd have an awful lot to give to others and firsthand understanding. And I feel like you never judge either. You're a good person, and you understand that you never can understand somebody until you walk a mile in their shoes. I feel like that's who you are in your soul. Okay, so I see you. Whatever it is, if I'm wrong about counseling, it feels to me like you have to do something where you're working with people and helping people. Okay, so I could almost see you around. It feels like around kids, maybe teenagers. I could see you helping them as well. Like that feels important to me. All right, so. so I hope that makes sense, and I hope maybe that's what you were asking me when I couldn't hear you. You know, but I feel like just, you know, go with it. We got to get through this time right now, so we'll get through this time, and I feel like you're going to have more clarity when we get there. And I see you maybe really thinking about doing that in September. You know, going further with studies, whatever it is, whether it's conventional studies or unconventional. I see you doing that for sure. Follow that, okay? And you'll see, even though you don't know exactly where it's going to lead, follow it, and you'll see the doors will open, and you'll be where you're meant to be. Okay. Okay. Believe in yourself. I'm hearing this too. Believe in yourself. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. I'll leave that with you with lots of light and love. Thank
Yep.
you.
Thank you for being with us, Jalen.
Yeah.
Okay. And so next on deck, we have Victoria. Thank you also, everybody who's in line, for your patience as we move through everybody. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank
Victoria.
you.
How are you?
Hi.
Okay.
I'm good,
Okay.
thank you.
I can't hear you. Okay. You know what? Hey, Hank, if you can hear them and they have a question about a past life, if you want to type it, I could hear it, or you could
Yeah.
repeat it to me.
So Victoria, did you have a particular question that you want me to pose to Angie?
Yeah, if it's my past life that makes me feel like I have a wall built up all the time.
Should have taken more typing classes in high school there.
No,
Here
I
we
can
go.
hear you, Hank. You can say it to me. I can hear you.
Oh, could you hear her, or you can hear
no,
me?
I can hear you. I can
Oh, so she can hear me. So I just had it.
Oh.
So if it is her past life that makes her feel like she has a wall built up all the time.
Yeah, like it almost feels like a wall of protection. I feel like that's why you have
Yes.
it. It feels like protecting yourself. I feel like you don't want to get hurt. You know, it's like almost
Absolutely.
like guarding your heart and your emotions is what it feels like to me.
Yes.
And so I can see you like I want to say that I feel like there was a past life where you were I feel like you were a mom. I feel like you had a whole bunch of kids, but it almost feels like you were helping other people too. And that feels to me like in an olden time village is kind of what I'm seeing, with brick walls and dirt roads and things like that. It feels like a long time ago. And it feels to me like you were somebody who had a very open heart, and you trusted people. You really did. You're like, you do that, and the deep part of your heart is still that same way, that you always
Yes.
try to find the good in people. So that's still there. But I feel like it feels to me like in that lifetime, it's like you were doing things for people and it's almost like telling your secrets and being vulnerable and really being there. And the people that you really thought that you could trust did you wrong. Like it almost
Yes.
feels to me like you ended up in a prison of sorts or something along those lines. And I feel like you came in kind of feeling like, I got to be careful, because the last time I trusted people, it didn't work well for me. So I almost feel, again, though, the true part of you really does have that openness. It just feels like there's a wall in front of it, and you've built it pretty thick, because I feel like in this lifetime, you've gotten hurt a few times too. And there have been a few times that you really thought that you could trust people in this life. And it's almost like the same thing. And I could hear you kind of saying like, same thing. I got to build that wall up more.
Right.
And so the bad thing about it was that, or the good thing was the wall maybe protected you, but the bad thing is that then here I am behind this wall, you know, feeling like I'm by myself, and I want to be closer to people because that's my true nature. Okay. So I want to say with you, I don't know if you meditate. Do you meditate?
Trying to.
Sometimes.
Trying to learn it.
So I feel like meditate and almost imagine that you're like, I feel like that wall could be viewed as like a stockade fence. And I feel like it's meditate and just imagine, this is imagination thing, is I'm opening up the gate, and how does that feel? And letting myself, or maybe taking out like a piece, if it's a brick wall, taking out a brick at a time, and letting yourself do that little by little by little, and dealing with the feelings. I feel like with those feelings too, do some journaling. Okay. If you, and I feel, because I feel like sometimes with that wall, it's like we push pain down deep inside. Okay. And sometimes sadness, I don't know how to deal with sadness, or when somebody hurts me, so I push it down. And it feels to me like if you did some journaling and wrote about some of that and let yourself feel some, I could see you releasing it. And I feel like as you did that, I could see that wall kind of coming down, and I feel like letting people in, because really that's what you want. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I can't hear you.
Yeah, she said yes. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, she said yes. That makes sense to her.
Okay. Okay. I couldn't hear. Okay. Does she have any other? Okay. So that's okay. I'll leave that with you.
Yeah.
I feel
Just
like do
wondering
that
what.
though. Try doing that and try doing
Yeah.
some journaling and see yourself like taking that down and let yourself. I feel like almost like Kane could probably give you like an affirmation or a belief that it's okay to trust people again and trust your intuition, because I feel this too, that when there's somebody say that you can't trust, you usually get that gut feeling for you. And I
Yes.
feel like pay attention to that. Okay. And when you don't get that gut feeling, then know that that's somebody that you can trust. Okay.
Right. Because I feel like that's
Okay.
making
Do you want to add, Hank? Are you
difficult with my marriage.
good?
Yeah, so just to add on, one of the tools that you could possibly use for that is the true protection is really an awareness. And if you allow yourself to be
Okay.
aware of everything, then you can make choices in full awareness instead of when we have protection on. Sometimes it's like ignorance is bliss and we turn a blind eye to some of the things that we're aware of because it feels more comfortable. But the truth of the matter is
Right.
the only role we really have for protection is like with the burning building, right? You get the wet blanket, you put it on, you get out of the building. You don't always wear the blanket. You know, so
Right.
like, and when you get blindsided by something, yes, absolutely do something to give you peace and calm or whatnot. But in the grand scheme of things, without a wall, and as with aware as we all really are as infinite beings, in true awareness, there's nothing that you need protection from because you can always make conscious choice and respond to things.
Yeah.
Right. Because I feel like that wall is blocking me from making a decision in my marriage. And so it was like my gut is telling me one thing and then your heart's telling you something else.
Well, if you're thinking, you're stinking. You know, they say that if you make a choice with
Right.
your heart, but then the thing with the ego is that it wants to protect you because it will let you relive your worst day over and over again because it knows that you survived. And that's what it cares about, that you survived. When you start to look into possibility for really creating a change and something new in your life, your ego goes, don't want that. I don't know what to do with that. Don't choose that. We don't know what's going to happen. And it panics.
Right.
And that's why when we meditate and all these boulders come up, the ego freaks out because like, no, I need all that stuff to keep you, prisoner in this duality. It doesn't want you to get the one-ality because it doesn't know if it's going to survive.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah. And that's
good.
what
Thanks, Hank.
that's what
we got to do this
the
together,
feeling
I
that I'm
think, you know?
getting.
Yeah.
It's the not knowing what's next if I make the decisions I want to make.
Right. And with the word decision, feel the energy behind decision versus choice. Decision is a definition. It's a conclusion, ultimately a limitation, because when you decide something, you put it into a box that you can come to a conclusion. And now it's a fixed point in time versus I can make a choice and you give yourself permission to change your mind every 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I like that much better.
Right. Because you can always choose again and choose again and choose again. And
Right.
each choice will bring a new awareness. It can bring new choice. But once you decide and conclude, it's like, oh my gosh, now I made a decision and my parents taught me I got to stick to it. And you have all these little seeds of energy coming back going, oh my gosh, I got to stick with what my parents said and how you were taught.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Instead of stepping into who you're really going to be, which is an infinite being.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
All
I
right.
thank you
I
both.
love
It's
that.
been
Thanks, Hank.
wonderful.
That was good.
Yep. Thanks for being with us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, Victoria.
Thanks. Have a great evening.
Leave that with you.
Well, cool. It's kind of fun tag teaming messages with you in a way.
Oh, I know, Hank, I think we found something new we're going to do too. It's
Maybe.
It's kind of happening naturally. I was telling somebody something that today, that a lot of times if you wonder like what you're going to do next in your life, it's let something come up naturally. A lot of times it happens like this, and I think we know, right?
Well, and two questions people can ask to create a positive spiral. Even positive, it has a judgment with it, because really the space you want to be with, that you're not in judgment of anything being good or bad. It's all experience, because in the one-ality, there is no right or wrong. It's only in the duality. And if you can really come from the point of view that you don't have a point of view, then it opens up the door to possibilities, because half the time we're judging ourselves, or half the time, the other half, we're aligning and agreeing with or resisting and reacting to other people's judgments about us that we're accepting as true for us that we know are bullshit.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I love that.
And by the way, shit is not a
That's
swear
not
word.
a swear word. Yeah.
Yeah, you know who I'm going with that, from Patty Conklin, Spiritual Human in Transition.
Oh, I know. I love her.
It's
I
a
love
nice,
her.
great
I
acronym.
haven't seen her in a long time. I love her. Yeah.
Yep. But we got 3 more people on deck for video. We're going to bring Susan on the line with us now. Hello, Susan. Thank you for being so patient.
Oh, no problem. I love Angie.
Hello there, buddy.
Hi, sweethearts. You're
Does
doing
she have a
great.
question, Hank, for me? Because I can't hear her, and which is cool. But did
That,
she have a
that's
question?
so odd that you can't hear her. Like sometimes it seems that it comes.
I
You're
can't hear
able,
you either, Hank.
okay. Susan, what question do you have for Angie? And I'll put it to her in a message. Susan, can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can. Do you have a question for her?
Have I learned my lesson yet? Past life? Can I move on? Can I grow? Do something different?
Have I learned my lesson yet? Can I grow? Can I move on? Did I get it correct?
Yep. Sounds like it.
Okay, got to correct my spelling before I post it for the world to see.
I'm the librarian. You better.
Oh boy, that pressure's up.
Fellowships. I'm the librarian art at fellowships.
Oh, I know I knew you from somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And I want to say, feel this for you is let yourself feel that, because I really do feel like you've learned your lessons, and I keep on feeling like it's time for you to give yourself permission to be that it's okay to be happy, because I feel like in say past lives and even in this life, you've been in the role over and over again of I want to make everybody happy, and I feel like you're an excellent caretaker and an excellent caregiver, not just to family. I feel like to all your friends as well, and I almost feel like you've come into a time now where it's okay. You're feeling this already. You know, I want to be happy now, and I've got to let go. It feels like I feel like sometimes people are taking so much from you, you don't have any energy left to do what makes you happy. Does that make sense? Okay. And so, all right. So I want to say that it's okay for you to say no. You're doing it now. I feel like keep doing it. That's really important for you. Okay. I want to say I want to connect that to past lives as well, because I can see you in past lives where it's like you kept on doing that. It's like I've got to give to everybody else, and almost a past life where I feel like, you know, you were, it's like taking care of all the royalty or something, and I took care of everybody, and they treated me like I wasn't as important as them. Okay. And so it feels to me like in this lifetime, it's like sometimes we repeat things and we keep on doing it. We keep taking care of everybody. And that's a wonderful trait of yours. But to also say to yourself, I'm going to stand in my own light, and I deserve good things too. And I deserve I'm as good as they are, you know? So I feel like starting to say things like that to yourself. And I feel like you already are. It feels like to me over this last 6 months, you've been doing that more and more, but you're not sure where it's all going to lead. And I want to say, just keep doing what you're doing, and you'll see it's going to lead to, I feel like the lessons are learned. Start saying that to yourself. I've learned this. It's okay now. I can, you know, it's okay for me. I keep feeling like, feel light shining down and stand in your light. Okay. You deserve to be standing in your own light, and you're worth it too. I feel like affirmations and say things like that to yourself. And I feel like over this next 6 months to a year, it's like, I feel like just keep going forward. And if you keep going forward, you'll find it. I promise you. Okay. But I feel like what's different, you've been doing that, but it's almost, I can hear you. Okay. I feel like you've been doing that, but I feel like you haven't ever really said no as much as you are, and you haven't really set boundaries as much as you are. And I feel like that's the difference, and that's what's going to create the change. So keep doing it that way. All right. And so even though it feels like you're walking on foreign territory, you are, because you're doing it a different way, but it's foreign territory that's going to lead you where you need to be. Okay. You deserve to be happy. Yeah. I love you. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
And Angie, we are the big time now. We had our first troll. I had a boot him from the comments, so that means like we're out there now. Oh yeah, it was great. I at first I didn't catch it. I'm like, oh wait, what's this guy talking about? So I deleted him and blocked him.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
We had a troll.
Oh yeah, well they were just making some inappropriate comments, so
Oh my
he's
God.
gone now. But the cool thing is it aggregates the comments from all the places that we're streaming. So if you're still watching, like we're streaming to my profile, we're streaming to my Facebook page, HHH Santosha's, and our YouTube channel. So you could be joining us from anywhere. And I am posting the links for the upcoming events and things. So if you're interested, please check those out. But yeah, someone says thanks for booting the troll. You are welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Oh, okay. Stephanie saw that too. Okay, good thing. Yay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I never had to really worry about that before.
No, me either. Me either. Until we're streaming into a bigger audience, I think, Hank.
Yeah, we definitely are. So I'm going to add Lynn on, and then after that we have one more on deck, and then we'll go through a couple of the comments here.
Okay.
And fingers crossed.
Hi, how are you?
Can you hear her?
Yeah, I can hear her. Hi, Lynn.
Okay,
How are you?
great.
Yeah,
How are you?
Good thing. Yeah, I can hear you. Yay. Okay.
Yay!
So
Okay, I have one question.
Okay.
What am I carrying over from my past life?
The first thing that comes to me is it almost feels like fear to be yourself and fear to express yourself. Okay. And what I mean by that is I feel like your intuitive gifts and your intuitive skills. Okay. Because I feel like you have them and they're extremely natural and they're very, very, I'm hearing very, 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 very good. Okay. So I almost feel like it's and because I don't feel like you're a fearful person. I don't want to put that on you, but it feels like believing in yourself, and believing that I can do this and I deserve to be doing this and I can speak, my intuitive thoughts and I'm going to help people make a difference. When I go back to past, okay, and I take a look at a past life, is I want to say that you may have even been with me because it's like I see you back in Salem witch trials, but I don't feel like just that. Is I want to say there's been a few past lives where I feel like you tried to use your gifts and tried to be, it's like, this is who I am. I want to help people. I want to make a difference. And there was a real innocence about you in that lifetime too, and it was hard for you to understand when they were so hard on you for doing something you knew was going to be helpful and healing for people. All right. So it feels to me like I want to talk about, like, I feel like back at that time, there was punishment for doing that kind of work. And so I want to say, I feel like you went through some kind of punishment. Okay. And so I feel like it's almost then in this lifetime, it was hard for you to understand it even in that lifetime because you were such a good person. There was such an innocence about you. And it really was with the intention of healing and making a difference. And so I feel like I can see you carrying that with you into this lifetime. Okay. And almost to where it's you, and you still have, I feel like, that innocence and that love and that vulnerability. And you're somebody you have so much love in your heart and so much to give. Okay. And I feel like having awareness, because I'm feeling like that when I'm talking about that past life, that makes a little sense to you. Okay.
It
that
does.
you can you can connect to that. Okay. And so I'm feeling like you got to do that. I'm going to release it. That was then, this is now. It's a different world now, and people aren't going to, there might be those that might, ridicule you a little bit, but you're not going to be punished. Okay. And mostly I see you with people that are going to accept your gifts and I see you making a difference. So I feel like it's like you're learning like crazy right now. And I feel like harnessing your gifts and gaining more and more tools to put in your toolbox. And you'll see, I feel like over the next, it feels like 2 to 3 years, okay? You're going to be using it sooner than that, but I feel like really, really have things in place the way that you want them to be, that you can use. It's like you have those gifts so much in your heart and soul. It's like, you're like, I have got to do this, and right. And so I feel like over the next 2 to 3 years, you will be, okay? But be aware of that. And I feel like just think about that was then, and this is now. It's a different world. You can do this now, okay?
Yep, makes sense.
And I got, I had this from a different stream that I did. There's a great acronym for fear. And let me preface it with this, that we have the tendency from what our parents teach us that we will misidentify fear with excitement. And I had an example that I used to use from somebody else, but now I have my own. My one son, Max, who was our first child. And you think about the first child when you're a parent, like you want to protect them. And you're like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. And they get impressed with our fear. And they start to misidentify excitement because they're excited about doing that. And now they're all of a sudden they're afraid because of what the parent does. And so we start to misidentify excitement or fear as excitement. And my son, while we were at Disney World, would never want to go on any of the big rides. He would always, we have to do the parent swap, and he didn't want to go on anything. And then we're in line for Slinky Dog, and I thought to ask him a question. I said, "Hey, Max, are you afraid? Are you excited?" And he really took a step back, thought about it. He's like, "I'm excited, Daddy." And so there's a great acronym from Neil Donald Walsh that I love. It is feeling excited and ready.
Ooh, I love that. I love
Yes.
I like
So,
it.
Glenn,
yep. So,
that's you. That reminds me of you. You know, that's great. I love
yeah.
that.
So that's a great little way to take yourself out of the normal fear mentality, like thinking of an acronym like that, feeling excited and ready. And am I really afraid, or am I just misidentifying the excitement I feel, or excitement I feel for this possibility of my future?
Yeah. Yeah, awesome.
Cool.
I love that.
Thanks for being with us.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Love you.
All right, so we got one more in person here. We got our very patient Kimberly, who's been waiting
And
behind stage.
Hi, how are you doing? Good to see you.
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. You have a question for me?
I guess just whatever spirit sends you, and if it has something to say from my past life that has anything to do with my future, I'd be interested in that.
Okay, there's two women. I have to go with this though, because as I'm talking to you, I can see two women standing behind you, okay, that come in from the other side of life, okay? This feels to me, I feel like mom, and I feel like grandma, and I want to say it feels like one from mom, and then it feels like grandma from dad's side of the family. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes.
And grandma from dad's side of the family, I hear she's saying I was a card. She was funny. Okay. I feel like she made everybody laugh. Okay. She was nurturing. I feel like she was busy all the time. She never stopped, right? She was doing like one thing after another. You know, you go over there and everybody else would be sitting down at the table having dinner, and she was still cooking or making something else, or, you know, I don't like the way that turned out. I gotta do it again, you know? So I feel like that's who she was. And that was her personality. She was very much like, I want to care and I want everybody to be happy. Okay. And she shows me that that's a lot the way you are. Okay. I feel like you always try to make everybody happy too. You know, you always try to be as positive as you can. And I love your smile. And I feel like you always smile like that to people. It's like anybody's welcome in your house. I feel like I could say, I'm going to come over. I'm going to bring a couple people. Is that good? And you'd say, come on in. There's enough for everybody. Right. Okay. And I feel like that's exactly how your grandmother was too. So she's saying she watches over you a lot, and she loves the way you're living your life and loves the way you conduct yourself and the way you are with others. Okay. So, but I almost feel like, it's okay. You know, you make your list of all your things to do. And I feel like on your to-do list, right? Yeah, there's a lot of things on that list, you know, but I feel like most of them have to do with everybody else in your life and not always about you. Although it makes you happy to give to others. So you would never not want to be busy and not want to be giving to others. Okay. But I want to say that it feels like on that list, you got to put yourself. And she's saying that because she's saying she didn't always learn that. So she's saying, I can talk from experience. Put yourself on that list as well. Okay. I want to bring mom in too. Okay. Cause I feel like she kind of steps in close as well. Okay. And I just see her like hugging you and wanting to just give you kisses is kind of what I'm seeing, like kisses all over your face, you know? Your mom was sweet. I feel like she was a sweet lady, you know, and she just always was that way. It's like, oh, I'm so happy to see you. And it was anything you wanted to do. I feel like she supported you. It's like, I will support you. You just do whatever you want to do and I will help you do it. You know, she was one of those people, right? And she was one of those people too. It's like, you know, if you said, I really like that necklace, she'd probably give it to you, you know, or if you needed a shirt, it's like, take this shirt, or you just take it with you. It's okay. And she wasn't like, some people act like they're that way, but they're not really. But she really was that genuine. Okay. And she's saying the same thing with you. She taught you about about that giving to other people. And she's so proud of you because you do it all the time. Like, you notice like the little things that people need or something little that's going to cheer somebody up. You do that all the time. But what they're both talking to me at the same time. You know, they like to talk, both of them.
Yeah.
Like, oh, one's in this here, you know. So, but it's a good thing. And I feel like they're both saying, do those little things for you. Okay. And that's what's going to give you your happiness. It's like, put yourself on the list, you know, get up in the morning and think about like, what do I want to do for me today? And it's okay, because we're taught to give and not always to do things for ourselves, but you can't pour from an empty pot, right? So you got to take care of you first. And then it's like in the airplane, you know how they bring that mask down? It's like, put the mask on yourself first before everybody else. Okay. So I feel like it's that. Okay. So do that. Okay. And I feel like that's going to lead you, like, for the little things that you're searching for and looking for in your life, just start doing little things for you. And it's like, you're going to be saying, I value me too, not just everybody else. And that'll help lead you and guide you to where you need to be. And know that those two are with you all the time. I don't know if there are nights that you can't sleep well, or you feel like you didn't get a good night's sleep. That's because they're talking to you, okay, throughout your day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I actually lucid dream and I'll wake up and my mother will still be standing there talking to me. I mean, I know that they're here
You know
all
that
the
they're there.
time.
Yeah, and they love you so
Yeah.
much. They love you so much.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, thank you so much.
You're
Thank you.
that with you with
Yep.
lots of light and love.
Yep. Thank you for being with us. And one great tool, if you're getting just starting with your gifts as a medium and you're out there wondering like if they're bugging you at night, there's a tool from Access Consciousness we use. It's called Office Hours. So you pick a couple days a week, maybe one day a week, whenever you want. You sit down and you say, okay, who's there? Whoever's waiting longest, you come first. And then you just start having the dialogue. And are you here for me or for someone else? If it's someone else, do I know them? Do I not know them? If I don't know them, I'm not playing Long Island Medium.
Yeah.
and you can start asking questions and go through like that. So I'm going to scroll back up through the comments from the newest one to the oldest. Elizabeth just joined. Hope she didn't miss too much. Well, the good news is you can watch the replay, so you didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
But I'm
and
specific.
know this, you know, for anybody that watches on replay, if I'm giving a message to somebody else and it sounds like it belongs to you, and you're thinking that sounds like my message, it is. Take the message, because spirit works that way when we work in groups like this. Is I'll be giving a message to one person and it intentionally is meant for others. So if it feels like your message, take the message.
Right. And so I'm going to go back up through, and people were asking a lot of different questions. I'm going to focus specifically on the questions that had to do with today's topic about past lives. So
Okay.
Grace had asked, I have been feeling so responsible. I always have for everything, and feel so stressed. Everything irritates me, and I feel like I shouldn't be around people I love the most. Does this have anything to do with a past life?
Oh yeah, that absolutely does. Like I almost feel like a past life where you were always doing things for everybody else, and you were almost like, where I feel like I almost want to go back to where it feels like a slave type of situation, to where you were never allowed to do anything for yourself. Your life really wasn't your own. Okay. And I don't know if I'm talking about slavery here or I'm going back even further, but I feel like it was something along those lines. And I feel like you've kind of carried that into this life, where naturally you do things for other people, but there's also a resentment in it with you as well, because you're connecting back to that life where you didn't have any choice. And I feel like sometimes it feels like it gets so much on your shoulders, and it feels like I just don't have a choice. Okay. And so I want to say that I feel like it's that same thing I'm saying to everybody. When you find yourself feeling like that, just kind of even like exhale it out. It's like, that was then, this is now. I don't have to do this. I'm not commanded to do this. I can do it differently. And when I'm done, I can also say no. Okay. In that life, you couldn't say no. In this life, you can. So I feel like, say no, that's okay. And do some things for you. That feels very important to me. Okay. I hope that makes sense.
Right. And it looks like, let's see. Oh, just some feedback from before. Oops, that wrong one.
Okay.
Or was it the right one?
Look how you can pull those up. That's so cool.
Isn't it? So I feel like I am made for so much more in this life than I'm doing right now. Like I have a larger purpose than what I'm doing now. Could it be a past life thing? And the reason why I'm reading the questions as well, one, it gives Angie an opportunity to tune in, but I also discovered that the software I'm using also makes a separate audio file, so we could post this as an audio podcast somewhere if we'd like as well.
Oh, I
So
love it.
that's extra. So I want to make sure that if we are ever going to do that, that we're doing the audio questions. So
You know, and everybody, I want to say this too, that if you join us for past life regression on Saturday, because I can give you the reading, but there's nothing like experiencing it for yourself. Because and everybody says, you know, will I be able to do it? Will, you know, Angie be able to guide me back and I'll have the experience? And very rarely have I had somebody that doesn't. And there's nothing like like seeing it for yourself, okay? And you'll see it sort of like in your mind's eye, like as though you were meditating, kind of what you see in meditation. And if you don't meditate, it doesn't matter. You'll still be able to do it. Okay.
Absolutely. And I know for the first one that I had ever done, I didn't go in with, it was with Kev O'Kane. And I had such an experience where I had this huge release. Like it's indescribable. When you're in that zone and what the experience that you could have. So definitely give yourself the gift that it could be to have that one-on-one experience. And then also by tasting in that energy, you'll find it easier to go and sit down before you go to sleep and go have an experience after you've had a taste of it and an experience with Angie. I'm going to post a link to that past life regression workshop again.
Yeah.
Did you need the question again? Did you need me to post that question again?
Yeah,
or did you?
sorry, I forgot. Yeah. I forgot. Sorry about that.
Well, I knew if I forgot the question, you probably did too.
Yeah,
so there it is again.
Okay. I absolutely feel like that feels to me like a past life thing. And I feel like it's the same thing. I think I said that to somebody else. It's like a past life where you were not valued. Okay. And a past life where I feel like it feels not exactly the same as the one I did for Grace, but it feels like your life wasn't your own, that you were dominated and you weren't allowed to connect, say, to your purpose. And I could see you carrying some of that into this lifetime, and almost kind of there being a little bit of a wall there as you go towards your purpose. It's almost like something kind of stops you from getting to that place of success. Okay. I feel like an affirmation for you. I just feel like I value myself and I deserve success.
Oh, Angie has paused on me. We'll give Angie hopefully a second to sync back up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, your audio cut out for a second. You froze.
Okay. I feel like saying those affirmations. Okay. I am worth it. I deserve happiness. I deserve success. I am valuable. I am worth it. Those kinds of things. And I feel like start talking to yourself of those things, because in that life, you didn't believe that stuff about yourself. So in this life, it feels to me like it's a belief thing. Change that around and you'll be able to, I feel like, break through the wall that's there and get to your purpose and get to success.
All right. And just a question, you can speak a little bit. Thomas was wondering what the event is on Saturday. I just posted the link, but it's actually a process where Angie is going to bring you through a regression where you're going to be in the space where you get to experience the past life. Could you talk a little bit more about exactly how you do that and what people can anticipate?
Yeah, it's like I guide you through like a deep relaxation. It's hypnosis, but I always feel like hypnosis is really a deep meditation. Okay. Probably the relaxation or that part of it takes 20 minutes to kind of get you in that space. And then I'm going to count you down and I'm going to completely guide you through the whole thing. You're going to go through like through a tunnel. I'm going to guide you through a tunnel and you're going to come out into a past life. And you'll see, I'll be asking you questions and helping you see or feel or what have you to have the full experience. Did I explain that good enough?
Yeah, I think you did fine.
Okay. And then afterwards we'll talk, we'll have discussion. Okay. And I'll take you through too. You'll go through at least 2 past lives. And I'm also going to help, guide you to make a connection to your spirit guides, okay, or to your guardian angels or higher self, okay, so you can get some guidance on your life today. So we're going to do all of that on Saturday.
Oh, sounds great. I'm excited for that too. Now I do, the next one is more of a question about if you had a past life done. So is it helpful to re-listen to a past life regression session? Is it possible to learn something new based on where you are now versus when you originally had the regression?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. I feel like always, like even a reading or a past life regression, it's always valuable to go back because you'll hear different things. And also I feel like you'll see the progress you've made. Because I feel intuitively like from the past life regression you had, whether you were thinking this or not, I feel like it has created a shift inside you and it's helped you to go more forward. Okay. And I feel like if you listen to it, you might not see that, but if you listen to it again, I feel like you'll see it, and let yourself have, if it was a regression and you have it on tape, let yourself do it again. You know, it can't hurt at all.
Yeah, and then the question, and personally speaking too, what makes me think of this is Mark Thomas. When you look at his Bhagavad Gita, right? Like he would reread it, and every time he would go through, he would like use a different highlight or underline it differently, and different things stand out to you. So like when I go back, and because I have a recording of the one that I listened to with my brother, and like just the different awarenesses you have based on where you're at now, you're looking through a whole different set of lenses, or maybe you're looking through with a whole bunch of less lenses because you don't have as many filters, and it's amazing what might come through for you now if you just go back and give it another listen, or how much validation might come to pass.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then someone was asking about what about the intuition class? Where is this? The intuition class is going to be virtual. The way that I'm going to do these online classes is we're going to have a private Facebook group that after you register for the class, we will send out a thing where you join the group. So we'll have the chat interaction, but it's only going to go to the group. So that way we know only people that have paid are there and everything. And then we're going to use this same software. So Angie could be lecturing, but if someone has a question, we can bring you on, and it's a little bit more controlled than Zoom, where it's just kind of like if you've been on a Zoom, sometimes the quality isn't as consistent, and sometimes it's kind of popcorn style and you don't have as much control over it. So we're going to kind of do a hybrid of things is how we're going to look to do that. And Sarah says, Sarah, that's my soul sister that moved away. It's nice to hear from you too.
Hi, Sarah. We love you.
But the intuition class, that's going to be virtual. I'm posting the link for that now. And specifically, it's geared to developing your intuition for use in this uncertain time. So it's not just kind of an intuitive class.
In your daily life, that you'll be able to use it like always. And I'm just going to teach you and give you some easy ways and easy tools that you can know for sure that you're connecting to your intuition and make decisions that ways all the way around. It's a good class. You'll definitely. And for uncertain times, because that is what we called it. But I feel like you can use it in your daily life always.
We love you too, Sarah. You got to move back. I thought Buffalo was far away. Then you move further away.
I know. You better get back here.
And Stephanie's saying she loves the energy of both of us being together, which means we're totally going to do some other things. Maybe just instead of lives, maybe we can do some co-creations of classes, because we definitely have a good interplay. We have such different backgrounds. I got the shamanic thing. I got to show my office. Look at that. Got all kinds of shamans have the best stuff. And also, if you're in for a sound bath, look at all the bowls I have. Because I had this realization the other day when we did that virtual bowl concert. I'm like, I'm taking my bowls out to the main room, setting them up. I'm like, well, I can just bring the camera in my office. I don't have to move anything. So I'm going to have all my toys this time, because I'm not going to.
We're doing another. When are we doing one of those? We're doing some more sound bath. Hank is amazing. If you like sound bath stuff, you got to listen to Hank. He's the best. The best.
Yeah, and I do a combination. I call it ceremony and sound, because I mix Peruvian shamanism with the sound healing. So last time, I think we did a special despacho, and we actually invited the consciousness of the coronavirus in to see what contribution it would have for us. Because in the way of the way we call it in ERE, coronavirus ompwe, we were actually calling upon the higher consciousness or the intelligence of the virus and bringing only its healing here. So we were doing stuff like that, and it was just pretty cool. And we do that on an unlisted YouTube channel. People have access to it, so the sound quality is better. And then combined with Zoom before and after for interaction. So I think we got a pretty good balance with that too.
For sure. And but we have to acknowledge Sarah. Sarah's a pretty good sound healer too.
Yep,
So-
Sarah is absolutely the best. Well, she was saying that probably about me, but it's true for her too. She has the bowls and the tuning forks, and sound is really an amazing contribution. And also, you can use it to tap into your intuition. If you use something like binaural beats, you can use that to help alter the brainwave frequencies from going to alpha to theta. So even sound is a great way to tap into spirit guides. There's angel forks, all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah, love it. All that good stuff. So cool. So we're going to be back here on Saturday.
We'll be back here. Well, did you want to do another live on Friday before Saturday? I think we had said we might do another live, and we can talk off. We'll talk in a minute to see if we want to, what that theme will be, if it's going to be all messages, or if we'll do kind of like what we did today.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds
So-
perfect. Okay.
So very cool. All right, guys. Angie, if you hang out for a second after I end the broadcast, we can chat for just a quick moment. So everybody, thank you. Thank you.
Hope
Thank you.
Hope to see you Saturday or some of our other fun things.
Yep.
We love having you here.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody being here, and especially if you're watching this on the replay and you stuck around for the whole thing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please like and subscribe, share the inspiration. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye, everybody.